Why is life so difficult? If you're feeling like this, then I feel for you. I'm sympathetic towards the cause. It can be difficult, and I'm not going to lie, life is sort of the most interesting thing there is for us, because really, like, it can be the best of both worlds, and it can be the worst of the worlds. What are they? No, I've completely cooked that expression. I'm sorry, Charles Dickens, but the best of times and the worst of times is what I mean. And I think thinking about life in the sense that when you picture that emotion of why it might be difficult for you, I think about try to resolve that in the sense that what are the biggest things that are making life most difficult for you? Now that could be very general, from something, say, financially speaking. There's just something bothersome with either the career that you have, the current work that you're doing is just not lighting you up financially, or maybe it's not lighting you up in terms of the spiritual side. So maybe this is more of a spiritual, what is my purpose in life? Why does life seem so difficult now? Because it used to be so good when I had it younger, but now I'm an adult and I'm just like not loving it. So it could be one of those, or it could also have to do something relationships and trying to think like, everything's going great. I got a great job. I'm single, don't have anyone I spend my life with, or I've got issues in my family, my brother and sister, cousin, whatever. So the way I approach tackling that is sort of trying to identify the problem. And I guess for myself, my main concern of why life feels difficult to me right now is, I guess, just simply because I'm unemployed. And I personally am looking for work, trying to find something that would be enjoyable and financially rewarding at the same time. And I come from an engineering background. I'm a chemical engineer, and finding that can be a little bit tricky, because the jobs aren't necessarily the most exciting or dynamic. But first, I think you need to identify, well, what is really so bothersome about you in your particular instance, and then trying to then remedy that by taking actions that will, address that. For instance, so obvious as it seems, I'm applying for jobs left, right, and center. I'm trying to resolve this issue that I don't have a current full-time job. Now, it's easier said than done, in the sense that you may, like, I might do that, and I might still think like this is just kind of annoying. Why is it so hard to find a job? Why does life seem to be against me? But I think when you put those kind of thoughts, or you keep kind of dwelling upon them or ruminating on them, none of that's like helpful. And just picturing that life is difficult, it's okay to acknowledge it to extent and identify it and take actions to remedy on it. But I'm never one that I think I should always be like, man, life is like just terrible, and this is going to be a terrible day, and another terrible day just happens, and it's just over and over again, just not helpful. Like, that kind of attitude isn't going to get me nowhere. I'm a big believer in that nothing changes if nothing changes, which I think Theo Von mentioned, or I don't know where he got it from, but the idea that it's one thing to acknowledge a problem, but then what are you going to do to kind of help solve that? Because nothing's going to change if you don't do any actionable changes to remedy that. So if it is a relationship thing and everything's great career-wise, how can you improve the relationship? Can you talk to the person? If you cannot talk to the person, how can you adjust your attitudes and feelings towards that person, and being okay with maybe just taking a step back, allowing some time to pass, and maybe allowing yourself to move on? These are things that are all kind of potentially possible, because unless you're like, starving or have a horrible, poor illness that's just been unfortunate to you, try to picture yourself that life is giving you this ability to, one, literally be alive. You have the process of being actually to go outside and do something. You have the ability to do whatever you want with your time, and take some gratitude and feel the sense of joy that, you know, I might not be where I want to be ultimately right now, but I'm still alive right now in this moment, and I can do something about it, and I can kind of try to lower my expectations maybe day by day until I get to where I want, you know, and think about what can I do today that's going to help solve the situation for myself tomorrow. And then slowly try to make your life less difficult with the things that you find the most challenging, and take actionable steps that are going to hopefully remedy that situation, whatever problem you might be feeling, relationship, financial, emotional, spiritual, etc. And I think for myself, like, just trying to like think back on that constantly, and being like, I really don't want to spend another day where I get to the end of it pissed off and bothered that I'm just wasting my time, and I feel like I'm drifting. I hate that. You know, I hate that. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to write to something. I'm going to talk to people if I feel lonely, you know, or maybe try to embrace a sense of purposeful loneliness, in the sense I'm going to do something in solitude, and then I'm going to hang out with someone. Whatever the case may be, don't sit in your room and just brood and ruminate, because that's just, none of that's going to help the situation. And taking actionable steps is the only way I believe that is going to be the way forward. And try to believe in yourself, because I think that's also super important. But again, maybe I'll do another video on this, and I've talked about it, but have good habits. Good habits lead to good outcomes. Good thoughts lead to a better life. That's it for me. Enjoy this famous last gulag right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Taking effective fire. War is for the warriors.